Holy moly, macaroni! It's Hotline League episode 44. I just drove 6 hours down an entire state, one of the biggest, by the way, one of the biggest states, to get to this show. I come straight out of NALCS finals. You've heard about straight out of Compton. I'm straight out of Oakland. That's how this week has gone. Joined by Mark Zimmerman, Kelby. They're the guests for today. We're going to start the show in just a second. Of course, we'll be talking about finals, gauntlet, and so much more. All that coming up next in Hotline League episode 44.
Hotline League is brought to you by Omen by HP.
And here we are, returning to the show, as always. I don't know. I wonder how many people we lose with those intros.
I think it went up, but it's hard to know because we just tweeted as well, so it should be going up a lot.
No, but I mean like in the VOD. Because Twitch chat seems to react... they have mixed feelings on how I start these shows. And I wonder how many people click the button, on YouTube, and then they just leave because they're a little offended by the...
Well, I don't think they're usually quite as bad as, whoa, whatever you said, dude.
I thought it was a
Usually they're
great
little
intro,
better.
Travis.
Thank you. See, that's the mixed... We see the mixed intros in that. You should get Dash to start the analyst desk that way.
Well, he needs a prompter, so you have to spell that out for me.
Yeah, just like put the
Can you
stutter
spell out
into the...
macabaroni?
Yeah. All right. I am joined, of course, as always, by my constant co-host, Mark Zimmerman. How's it going, Mark?
Pretty good. We was in Oakland as well. I flew back in the morning. I took like an hour nap, so I'm actually not any better for it. Naps just make me feel like shit. And other than that, yeah, I had fun this weekend. Yep.
So, sounds like you did. The enthusiasm is just, as always, dripping from your voice. What were there any highlights for you?
Show match. I actually was really hesitant about that because it was kind of last minute, and so I wasn't sure how it was going to go.
Yeah, it seemed like they announced it like a week before, so I can't assume it was planned that much earlier.
I don't know the specifics of all the coordination stuff. I just know at least like how far I was looped into it. It was kind of like, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
And then like it was something that we didn't rehearse, and like usually the AD does not cast games, so it was a lot of uncharted territory. But I think
desk.
the analyst desk usually does not cast games. So I thought it turned out very well for, I think the personalities and the people, Delta Fox and Tyler One, even Freak, like stepped up and made it really, really good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Actually, I thought it was a highlight of the event. It's certainly better than day 2. I'll put it that way. More entertaining.
Yeah, I would say after experiencing that, I don't know why we use pro players for anything. Entertainment related.
That's a really good point. What
like
do you think?
We do those April Fools streams and like productions, and I'm like, oh my god, Cutie Pie and Tyler One are 10 times funnier than Jensen and Bjergsen.
Yeah. I think you do those things to try to build the brands of Jensen and Bjergsen. So if you don't do that, then
I don't think. Listen, they should be able to do that themselves. I think we should just make the best funny show we can make.
Yeah, that might be fair. Kelby,
What's up?
we hung out this weekend.
Hell yeah.
What did you think? This was your first live league event in some time, right?
Yeah.
Years.
I thought that the intro, like I thought the production on site was good for the venue. I got very hyped during the intro and stuff. The matches were not exciting.
Well, you were only there the second day, to be clear.
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah, I was
Context
only there day 2 because I only came to watch Peter. The matches weren't exciting, but they were exactly what I wanted, and the crowd was really, really not into it. But considering the matches, like I don't know, it's hard to feel, I guess, probably a lot of excitement, especially since like the way that League of Legends matches like can tend to end like that the game is over 30 to 40 seconds before it is actually over, and they don't like GG out. You make them or the teams decide to walk down and kill the Nexus, so it's like a little anticlimactic in that regard.
Yeah.
But Yeah, no, I thought it was a good event. I enjoyed myself, especially considering 3-0 TL shit stomped, or what, TL 3-0 shit stomped. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta talk about the Ginyu Force thing real quick.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
was
say. Go ahead, Kelby.
it was awesome.
Yeah.
That was, I think, the greatest Ginyu Force of all time.
It was really good.
I
practiced.
honestly can't think of a better one because like there's so many things perfect about it. Like you don't have to see the awkwardness of them like slowly getting in position.
Right.
It's not a picture. It's a video. It has a nice camera pan. It's backlit. It's got smoke on the floor. There's like hype ass music behind it. They all like mostly hit their poses pretty well. Ole did a different one. He said like he did it on purpose to not block double lift and stuff. And like I don't know, dude. Like I've seen a lot of Ginyu Forces. And
Yeah,
I think
so
that was the greatest one of all time.
I had seen the memes. This is so I think an interesting. I had seen the memes before, but it didn't strike me at first that was what I was seeing because I've never really watched the show, and I didn't really, I'm not very anime minded, and I was just like, damn, this thing is so cool. Whatever pose they got into is so cool. And then in the 6-hour drive back to home, Broden explained to me. I was like, what actually is that? Because obviously I've seen the picture. And he was like, oh yeah, it's like almost like a joke in the show. Like this is like a like lackluster group of people that what's the name of the
Ginyu.
I mean, it's the Ginyu Force.
No, I know, but the main character in
Goku?
Yeah, he said that Goku like takes them all out. Broden kind of characterized them as like a Team Rocket, like that they're like not
Well,
to be taken very
Ginyu Force
seriously.
is a lot more powerful than Team Rocket, I would say.
mean-
But I think he was
you're
saying like
comparing them to
it's supposed to be
Goku.
intentionally corny, like they're
Yeah.
And that's what I thought was so funny about this is that like they took this thing that is like supposed to be intentionally corny and they made it look so cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, first off, you got to calm down because,
This was amazing.
well, I just mean on like they did that. Like everyone has done this before. I will give them credit for having what I
I've
think
never
is the
seen
best.
it.
Well, can I ask a clarifying point as well? Is that like were they low light and then they brought the light up all the way, or did they make that set of poses completely in the dark?
I think they did it in the dark.
Yeah,
and
That's
they,
impressive.
They said
Ole's
they were
in the chat right now,
rehearsing
by
it.
the way.
Ole, you said you guys were rehearsing that like the day before when they were going through walkthrough and stuff, right? And that's how you guys were able to hit it so perfectly. Like all the
Peter
faces
told
were
me.
good.
Peter told me because I was, friends with Double Lift. I was hanging out with him last night, and we were. He was telling me that basically what they did was they like went and found a mirror and they like all on their own choreographed this, like that they'd be like, oh no, we're too far apart,
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
bring it in, and so that like the team I love that it was something that the team did. And that the team choreographed this together to make sure that it made it feel so much better, right? That this wasn't something that the production tried to do.
Yeah, and I think like people are talking about the Coup Tigers entrance. Like theirs was sick too, but it was not quite the Ginyu Force. They were all just kind of doing like some cool poses as they came out of the ground. But like that shit's so memorable. Like the fact that people are even comparing it to a Coup Tigers thing from, I think it was 2016, whenever that happened.
Yeah,
I'm very tempted to make a video about it. Is this the greatest Ginyu Force of all time?
I think you should. And
Okay,
then
I
I
like
think
your
the
beverage
mods will
choice.
promptly delete it from the League of Legends subreddit. Somebody tells me that I'm looking through the Flickr right now because apparently there are pictures in here of them practicing it in production ahead of time, and I'm trying to find this footage because I really like I
That's
hope
awesome.
this is literally what Squad should be this week. If Damien's still watching, he was in the chat earlier. Like, just I don't care about like, oh, it took so long, and oh, we really just make the whole video about making the Ginyu Force.
Of the two things they accomplished this weekend, I think making Ginyu Force look that cool was actually harder than beating C9.
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, props to that. That's a fun conversation to have. I don't think we need to have any calls. Oh, hang on, I found the picture. I'm gonna put it on.
All right, yeah, sure.
I'll put it on there. I don't think we need to have any calls about this, but
No.
here's them like this is in the mirror in a bathroom. It looks like, or a makeup room.
Dude, Pobelter's face is so clutch. Like to have such like a dead set fucking look.
Yeah,
Like that's what sells it is the face.
yeah. That's good. You can see all the cameras in the background rolling over this. It's pretty sick. I really like that picture. All right. Other than that, let's just maybe we can chat about what the good topics are. What are you laughing about, Mark?
It's just other than that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can wrap the show now.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, what are the big conversations for tonight? I know we got Team Liquid's win, obviously, and stomping over C9. We've got TSM over 100T. We've got 100T qualifying to Worlds. I think there are some people that have mixed feelings, I guess, about the fact that it's weird to see them lose on one day and the next day find out they're qualifying to Worlds. And yeah, what else? Gauntlet, I guess, this weekend are the big ones. Am I forgetting anything?
There's like some other world stuff, like Rookie made it. Like if people care about talking, I personally don't want to talk about that stuff, but there is some international worlds news.
Yeah, somebody says LCK, LPL, like we talk about.
I like how they don't even mention EU. Like there's just no fucking way you're gonna get us to talk about that.
Madrid. There you go. We talked about it. I do think it'd be fun to talk about Tyler 1 a little bit. I'm down to talk about T1.
There's some show match stuff we can talk about. We can also talk about just like the show in Oakland and that stuff. Yeah. If people want to talk about whatever.
Yeah. Kelby, you have any thoughts? Are we missing anything? No. Okay.
All right. So should I do the spiel?
Yeah. Go ahead and provide it. Hopefully, Kelby's got more to say than he just did. Mark. Go ahead and explain.
All right, so in Twitch chat right now, I'm spamming the link to the Discord. What you're going to want to do is click that and join up. Once you get here, you're going to want to join Pleb Calls or Pleb Calls 2. You can mute yourself once you're in there. You don't need to listen to other people breathing. And then in the Pleb Topics, you're going to go ahead in the text channel, post what you want to talk about, and make sure you are a little descriptive of what it is you actually want to talk about. Don't just say, I want to talk about the finals. Say, I think C9 really underperformed. I think they're better than they showed. And then we can talk about that. And so go in there, post your topics, your takes, whatever it is you think you want to talk about. I'll be looking through. If I like your topic, I'll pull you into the waiting room voice channel where you should then unmute yourself. When it's your turn, I'll come in. I'll do a quick audio check to make sure everything's working before I pull you into the on-air room, and you'll be here talking with us.
And if you are a sub, by the way, you can gain access to a sub chat channel with topics. That moves a little bit slower, so it gives you a bit of an advantage over the other folks, but doesn't necessarily guarantee that you get pulled. We don't really try to pull X number of subs every night or anything like that, but just make sure that you're synced up there, and then it's one reason to throw a sub in.
Hey, also people, if you want to have a conversation, there is text channels below to have conversations in. Try and keep the Pleb Topics channel full of actual topics and less about other stuff.
Responding to people's conversations.
Yeah, you can tag them
in for us. Yeah. Regardless,
I have my first caller who I absolutely want to pull.
You want them? Okay, go for it.
Perfect.
You want to go grab them, or you?
I grabbed it. Well, let me build up a couple other people before.
Kelby,
what's up?
I know Peter missed you last night.
Well, I don't know what to say.
I heard the rumor. The rumor is, I don't know if I should be saying this, but the final bill at the Team Liquid dinner, somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000.
That's really
not bad.
That's not nearly as bad as I expected.
Did you hear about teams who when the Bruins won the Stanley Cup, they got a single $100,000 bottle of champagne?
Oh no! None of the pro players would have drank that.
I'm just saying that's when I hear extravagant celebrations. That's the kind of stuff I think about.
Oh yeah.
For context, Team Liquid went to the best steakhouse in all of San Francisco last night, and the most expensive one. So the fact that they went out of there with a $7,000 bill, I think, is a big win for Steve. I would take that back to the board and be like, aside from the fact that we 3-0'd C9, we went to Alexander, treated the entire team, walked out with less than a $10,000 bill. You're welcome. I'm thinking about the economics of this team.
We spent all our money on the roster. We cannot buy you nice dinners.
Nothing over 16 ounces. That was.
Yeah, because they're all eating Wagyu. If you're ordering 16 ounces of Wagyu, holy boots. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right, I got some people. I'm ready to hop in.
I think there's at least one or two vegetarians in the Twitch chat that are not happy with this conversation. Mark is grabbing...
They're not happy with the fact that people consume meat?
Mark is grabbing our first caller right now. Couple shout outs. Thank you to wait, where were we? Gladius Lips, Laziness, Mr. Fix, Datter skipped a sub to Groba, Rotodom, Avoyu1, who resubbed. And we got our first caller in. I'm the one who knocks. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
You've been on the show before.
Yeah, my name changed. I was on a while ago talking about Reckless.
Okay. Well, welcome back. Thanks for being a Twitch sub. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
So yeah, I wanted to talk about how...
hang on. I forgot something very important. I got distracted. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the Bronx in New York.
Very good. Okay, cool. You want to talk about... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about like 100 Thieves and their like suspect roster management and how like their last two matches of the playoffs, the way they shuffled around the roster really didn't make any like sense at all. For when they sub out Cody Sun for like their most important match of the season in the semis, and then they let Riccara just get slammed by Doublelift the entire series, and then in the next series against TSM, Riccara actually plays well game 1, and then they bring in Cody Sun, to play Tristana for 4 games.
Mark, you're cackling. You're like really excited about this.
Yeah, I'm excited about this.
You want any final thoughts, one who knocks, before I unleash Mark Zimmerman on this topic?
So what we're led to believe by what had happened leading up to that series is that Cody was benched for arguing with or like something with the coaching staff. So
Right.
He was benched because they thought he wasn't the best option, or he's toxic, or whatever we're led to believe. And then if you're trying to get that point across, like, oh, you can't act this way if you want to be on this team and play, and then you bring him back after his replacement plays well, that actually just makes no sense.
Alrighty.
Mark, this is I assume that this is the rant you would want to give in the blame game or in a blame game style topic, and this is here.
Well, it's a little weird because they did win with Riccara, so like what I'm about to say doesn't quite hold the punchiness.
Yeah, and by the way, Peter agreed with the assessment that Riccara played well in that series this weekend.
Yeah, I thought he played really well in game 1. He flashed, like he wasn't just sitting there getting carried. He flashed in and did damage and stuff like that. So I thought he was looking pretty good. But the reason that he started and then they swapped to Riccara to Cody-san, I was able to talk to some people in the know.
Wow, this happened. How does this? This is the 3rd week in a row where Mark Z's dropping some knowledge bombs.
What do you like? I could do this almost every week, but like.
Well, I think it's great for viewership, so I have no problem with it.
Yeah, that's why I started doing it, for our own personal viewership, and not because sometimes I think orgs get away with fuck ups that players don't get away with. So here we go. I heard that they submitted their roster late, and the way it works is if you don't submit your roster in time, it will default to your previous week's roster, and that is the only reason Riccara started game 1.
Interesting.
Wait, that's so much worse.
You have to. You're supposed
not
to.
great.
You're supposed to submit. I think I think it was Pobelter who said in the interview I did with him last week that it's 8:30 the night before that you submit rosters.
I'm not sure the exact deadline,
Okay.
but yeah, that's what happened. And then he won the game, and then they swapped back to Cody.
How confident are you? This is the rumor mill, or are you like really confident this is what happened?
I'm pretty confident. I didn't get this. Well, I don't want to say who I talked to, but
Sure.
This
You feel
was
confident in your sources.
I'm pretty confident in my sources this time around.
Okay. All right.
That's
And-
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good. Like you're
No.
supposed to be an
No, that's not good.
Okay, but-
they won. They won. So
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was gonna say. But they
it
won.
could have been an absolute disaster, and I would blast them for it. I think you can still get upset, but it wasn't like. At least it didn't cost them the series, is I guess what I'd say.
And-
I
and
was
quite so-
going-
go ahead, Kelby.
No. Mine can wait.
But what's weird about this is not only did it end up being disaster, or did it end up being fine for them.
Oh, let me just say this too, because
Yeah.
this is important. I don't get I don't use any information I get through Riot channels. So like I go out and get this information. So
Okay.
I just want to make, because some people care about that. They think like, oh, I'm paired up with Riot, and that's where I hear all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's a Mark bomb. Can we use that, or is it better if we use like a?
No, I don't really want any.
Can we call it a
stupid fucking-
Zimmer?
Can we
I like
call
Zimmer.
It, no, can we just call it info and not any fucking cheesy ass name?
Oh yeah. You just got zimmed under T. Okay.
Hey, it's been real, Travis.
Yeah. All right. What is Zimmer? People say. All right. Regardless. So they start Riccara, and he does well.
Right.
Why not leave him in?
I don't think they practice very much with him. I'm not sure. Actually, I should say I'm not sure why they didn't. I think they just wanted to use Cody, and they thought he would have a better chance of winning. I don't know. The whole thing is weird.
Yeah.
I thought for like strategy purposes, Riccara was actually a better matchup for Sven than Cody would be for Doublelift. Like, because Sven and Mithy are like known for being a bot lane that doesn't really make mistakes, but they don't really try to punish you for your mistakes. While Cody is one of those guys that tries to like gain advantages through lane and then cascade that pressure throughout the game. So like, had they just played with Riccara, the kind of player who's just gonna be like safe and also match Sven and Mithy's like level of. I'm not making any sense right now.
No, you're fine.
You're
It
fine.
makes
No,
sense.
I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah. It's just a better matchup for Riccara, into
Mm-hmm.
Sven and Mithy, who aren't gonna like punish him for mistakes, especially like in a big like stressful situation like playing on stage at Oracle Arena.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely agree that if you're going to put in a young player, putting him into Doublelift is probably
You're
going to
asking
be,
for not good stuff.
yeah, it's going to be a rough time.
Mithy and Sven are the best in the West.
They're good, dude. I'm not throwing any shit. They're just not lane dominant. Like, they're not shit on you in lane and
Gotcha.
take your turret at 10 minutes. So like, if Riccara had some strengths, because I don't think it was laning. Like, I think maybe I can see where you're coming from. Sven and Mithy make more sense. But that kind of goes back to what you opened this up with like potential being more of a disagreement with coaching staff, and it was like we're going to sit you. Like, who knows what really happened for the initial decision to sit Cody. All I'm saying is that coming into the series, whatever punishment it was supposed to be, or whatever the reasons are, those reasons were not the reasons that Riccara started in this series.
So there was an interesting thing that happened before that series. I was IRL streaming from the tailgate, and Riot has started to do this thing that I actually think is really cool. Unfortunately, they didn't do it on the second day, where they do like a red carpet entrance where like fans all line up next to the red carpet, and media are invited to like come talk to the players as they're coming up. And I go up to Cody Sun, and no one knew if he was starting or not yet, or what the deal was. And I said, "Hey Cody, are you excited to be at Oracle Arena?" And I like quickly, because I started to say like, "Are you excited to play today?" And I was like, "Oh, I shouldn't say that." So I was like, "Are you excited to be here at Oracle Arena or whatever?" And he just looked at me for a second and then said, "I'm excited to sub," or something like that. And so, I mean, people could go back and find the footage, but that was like what he said, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then like, you know, Twitch chat's just like leaked. And so now, sort of having that context, I wonder what that conversation was like. You know, assuming Mark's sources, and it seems like he's pretty confident in this. Like, it must have been interesting the night before. You go to Cody and you're like, "Hey, you know how we like, whatever, we solved everything. We scrimmed with you all week. Paperwork issue. You're gonna come in a game too. You know, that
Do
must
you think
be
he actually
awkward."
removed that though?
What's that?
Do you think they would share their fuck up?
Well, I think their own team
Yeah, that's-
knows. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they would share. I mean, normally teams are not great at like hiding that stuff from players anyway. So, and I think a player would be more angry if he finds out later on or something. I assume they would share. I don't know.
Well,
You know,
I
they
figure,
share
like,
internally. They're not going to share publicly, though.
Yeah, I'd figure like players who like in free agency are looking at 100 Thieves and they're not looking at it as a free agent destination. Where like, oh, this is the team. This is the kind of team I want to play for, as opposed to like a TSM or Team Liquid now. like
Yeah.
100 Thieves doesn't look good like on the player management side right now, even though they've been relatively successful this year.
I mean, Kelby, this was your rant about the Meteos thing a while ago. I remember on Hotline League at the beginning of the split, you went on a rant about how teams almost also have kind of a brand associated. Like there's the brand to the audience,
Right.
but then there's the brand amongst the pro players. And that you at the time were concerned that the way 100T had handled the Meteos thing signaled to other pro players that 100T was not as in line. They were not as player focused, being player focused, being pro player focused. The players on their team.
Yeah, well,
Go ahead.
sorry, to be clear, I was saying like if all of the information we were given was true and the side of the argument was presented, that is the risk that they could run. I don't necessarily think that this means at all, though, that like 100T is not a desirable location for talent. Based on what we've heard so far, like the pro players will have a much better understanding of that. And like there's so much more that factors in aside from like this guy was benched or not benched for this reason or that reason. It's like a coach, and like obviously there's compensation, what's the environment like, and all that stuff. I was just gonna say I feel like for all the things that 100T has done right, and I think they are the best org that has come into the league so far as the new teams, in my opinion. They're the most interesting to me, and they're the one that I like the most. I think the one area they can definitely shore up on is what their player communication is like, and their messaging around how their players are talking about roster moves publicly. Like, because there was the Meteos situation, there was the Cody Sun situation, and then there's Cody Sun again telling you in line, I'm excited to sub.
Yeah.
Which is not something that I would be happy about as a general manager. I would yell at Peter if he did that shit. Peter would never get subbed. But
Yeah.
Also, if you were a GM, would
in
you
this
have-
crazy alternate
also,
universe.
in that alternate universe, do you submit your roster late?
I never submitted a roster late, but you know, mistakes do happen. And I was gonna, when we went into this thing, I was gonna say, man, I feel like 100T does not do a lot of great messaging around their roster decisions. But if you submit your roster late, that's not something where you're gonna come out and say, well,
We done
this
good.
is what happened.
Honesty's the best
Fucked up.
policy.
Yeah,
I
but I
don't.
can
I don't think
understand
you
why
come out
they
and say
wouldn't
that
have
stuff.
been transparent
Yeah,
about
not
that.
here.
Yeah.
I remember there was a rumor way back when that like Winter Fox had to play the Yellow Pete game. I remember hearing that Yellow Pete's last game, I think he played on Winter Fox, was because they hadn't submitted the paperwork to sub in a different player that week or something, and so they ran Yellow Pete that weekend or on that one day or something. So up there with Winter Fox for victory on this one. I don't know.
There's
Look.
been a couple. Yeah.
I want to
Riot
say
has definitely made roster exceptions in the past for people submitting shit late and like all this stuff too.
yeah.
I don't know. Obviously it's changed now and it's good where they're stricter about it. But I know for a fact, you know, like there's stuff in the past where like, yeah, you know, if nobody's gonna complain about it, you know, like it's fine, just let it happen.
Sure. The one thing I will say about this is, I think Kelby kind of mentioned it too. I don't want there to be this perception that like, because I think I saw this a little bit on the there was like a Reddit thread last week or maybe the week before, that this show is just all about shitting on 100T. First off, the show is all about shitting on either FlyQuest or TSM depending on the week, so it's not 100T. Secondly, I think there's a lot of things that 100T has done really well. It's weird that in the last couple of weeks we've seen some pretty big missteps or some pretty big head scratchers. And I think that's one of the frustrating things for me is that you end up in these head scratching situations and there's just no information out there, right? Like
Yeah.
that we don't really know what happened with Cody Sun before. We don't know why this stuff happened this weekend. Maybe they don't want to communicate it. But like fans are left in the dark so frequently about these things. It's really hard to understand the reasoning. So
Yeah. At least like people, you know, got upset at Cloud9 for the way that they revealed their roster change information, but at least we had information to go off of.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that led to a situation where now by the end of the split, we have benching memes at finals that were actually like really, really funny and is now like content and joke. But you can only create that narrative and turn that around back positively for you if there is something to build a narrative from.
Yeah.
Right, and I think as well, like 100 Thieves did get a ton of praise. Like they've been up and down with the community. Like at first it was like, oh my god, this name's so dumb, and then it's like, but their merch is swaggy and they're winning and we like them a lot and they're cool and they have an awesome doc series and they got a ton of credit for that. And now like, yeah, the pendulum has kind of swung back.
Did the? I mean, I assume the heist came out. I missed it because I was in Oakland, and I didn't have a chance to watch it. But I assume the heist came out from this past week. I don't know if anybody caught it. Maybe Twitch chat can explain it if we missed it. But I wonder how they addressed it.
The heist from this weekend is already out?
No. From the initial Riccara Cody Sun sub.
Right, from the semifinals.
Oh.
Yeah, they didn't put one out.
They didn't.
They haven't put one out in like 2 weeks.
Well, so there's also that. I don't know if you saw the Twitter argument I got into. There's that whole thing
With Gabe. Yeah. Did you see that?
That was
Colby?
so sad.
No, what happened?
Basically, like on the dive, we were talking about how a lot of the team doc series have started coming out on Saturdays, which we were saying is like not as good because people don't have time to like process and watch and like get the context because there's games that day anyways. So like,
Yeah, no, you shouldn't release team doc stuff on the weekend.
right, exactly. It's pretty common sense, and we're saying that that's been happening a lot. And then we were joking like, oh, maybe it's because they're doing bad and they're trying to like hide it. Gabe, threw a bar back, like just kind of joking around, like, yeah, dude, that's totally why, and not because like it's a lot of fucking work and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And then he said like it's the rare exception. And then so he and I kind of went back and forth. I was like, it's not the rare exception. It actually happens the vast majority of the time. You guys are 1-5 in your last 5, and TSM 0-5. And then like a bunch of other people jumped into the conversation who then made like really weird points. Like I thought Matcom had a weird point where it's like shouldn't criticize art or something, and I was like, what are you talking about?
I love Matcom, dude.
Yeah, I was
so
just like,
fucking great.
Yeah,
dude, I love Matt.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was just like this conversation that spiraled really out of control, and no one was like myself included, like not making any good points. And then
Nice. I'm gonna go back.
It was a mess.
For a couple retweets out there.
I definitely was a mess in there too. Like I'm not looking at that conversation. Like I'm pretty happy with how I handled that one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Regardless, it's weird to me to realize that they have their show on hiatus. Like you're in playoffs. Why is your show on hiatus? And I love Gabe. He and I literally he was my roommate for over a year.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like I do know Gabe pretty well, and I obviously love his work and like Breaking Point and all that stuff.
But why is your show on hiatus?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like it's this hype point of the year. Like people are asking questions, and you throw everything on hiatus. It feels like the perfect way to just dodge drama. I forget how they handled the Meteos one, but I feel like they skipped a week then too. Maybe I'm wrong.
It was the same thing. They skipped like a week or so, and then they had Nate Shot like come in and do an intro like, this is what happened, blah 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 blah, and here's the new episode of the heist.
Well,
yeah, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, that's just that's weird. Anyway, thank you so much for calling in. I'm the one who knocks.
No problem.
Yeah,
Shout out to Omen by HP.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Good one.
On topic.
Yeah. All right, a couple more shoutouts. I think we can do one more call.
You want okay?
Yeah.
I forget what who's next now.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the time. Where are we? Rotodom, Voyu1, Berserker, calling shout out. Unlucky you got a sub now. Circilian, Terasian, Vilson, 26, you reset for 2 months. Eat Me, Timeless Hero, Dadris, who gifted a sub to 5 people. By the way, right now September, you can if somebody has gifted you a sub in the past on Hotline League or on my stream, you can resub for $1. It's kind of a cool deal. Baby Kangaroos gifted a sub to Yuna. I see Dom is here. What is IC Esports?
IC is Illinois College.
Where?
Illinois.
Illinois College. Okay.
Yeah.
So you are, I'm trying not to dox you here, but you do have it in your title. Are you a competitor at Illinois College?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, more importantly, you're a Twitch sub of the channel, so thank you for that. Where are you calling from? I assume Illinois.
Yeah, Jacksonville, Illinois.
Jacksonville,
so, middle
Illinois.
of nowhere.
Very good. Well, at least you got the team to play on. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
So I want to talk about how, oh, Mike. I want to talk about how Team Liquid will be NA's best performing team in world history.
Okay.
Damn.
Do you?
So
okay.
wait, does that mean a semifinals appearance?
Why don't you?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Semifinals.
Hot
What?
takes.
Explain to me.
All right. So out of like every NA team, like we just put superstars next to superstars, and it doesn't create a cohesive unit. And Team Liquid put superstars that go together. Like Team Liquid is based around like very strong team fighting. Like everyone plays, like the top side of the map can play role players. Like Pobelter, Smithy, and Impact are all like really good role players and like are superstars in their own ways. And they can all play around Doublelift, who is the greatest NA player of all time. And I feel like
a lot of sense.
and I feel like that combination has never happened in NA history.
So.
Like.
Oh, do you have more?
Like I was just gonna say, like when people were saying 2016 TSM was the best roster, it was just 5 superstars for the most part, and
So
it wasn't cohesive.
So, you mentioned that this is the first time in all history that NA has sent a team like this to Worlds. We sent these 3 guys to Worlds in 2015, and they lost to Brazil.
Well, I would say, what was the roster? Darshan and then Efremu.
Yeah.
I mean, Impact is, I think, far, like, worlds way better than Darshan. Like, at least in 2015 standards, like, 2015 Darshan is nowhere comparable to 2018 Impact. Yeah. And I think Ole, like, Doublelift and Efremu are comparable to how, like, good Ole is with Doublelift right now.
So, I mean, do you think that 2015, I mean, this is kind of a weird question, but, like, Mark, are you talking to your cat?
I'm just looking at him.
Okay. I saw your lips moving. I didn't know what was going on.
I just drank a thing.
Okay. That argument, though, if you feel like Afremu and Ole very similar to each other, or like at least their value in the bot lane is similar, and the one thing is like Impact that's different here, it makes me nervous because I don't know if like I feel like 2015 CLG, who I think went like they just bottomed out. They've lost all their second week, I think, and then lost in the tiebreaker too. Yeah. Like I don't know if that's. I worry that this is the same thing. People lost their mind about TSM last year, right? They're like, oh, they're so dominant, like, and then they go to Worlds and all the Korean players say, and I believe this, by the way. I don't think this is a thing where it's like, oh, people need to figure out there's a difference between what Koreans say and what they mean. I do believe that like TSM and these NA teams do show up in scrims. I just worry that they don't show up at Worlds, and that we're going to end up in the same situation where we see them like clear out Cloud9, everyone's riding high on the Team Liquid train, and then the expectations are so high, and it just ends up playing out that way.
I'm going to add to that is that like these players have been like most of them have been playing like Pobelter, Doublelift, and Xmithy. Like they have so much experience together. And that just kind of helps them like be much more like a cohesive unit. Like the macro games that they were playing in the finals just completely outclassed C9, who seemed like they had a pretty good macro game in the semifinals for the most part. And TL just completely outclassed them because of how cohesive they are as a unit.
Yeah. All right, that's fair. Mark or Kelby, what do you guys think?
I think I can understand the point about like having a very, very defined play style. And the benefits of that, but I disagree with the idea that that's not what TSM 2016 had to. Like they literally did the same thing every single game where like Peter played Lucian and then Sven and Bjerg got mid priority and they roam and dove bot lane and ended the game at like 25 minutes by like just abusing that. And so I think that, both those teams had pretty clear ways that they played the game. and that team didn't work because Doublelift couldn't get his typical advantages in bot lane, and Beer couldn't roam as easily, and like this thing that they did over and over in NA doesn't work because they're up against tougher competition. I do think that this team is a better macro, like mid to late game macro team, maybe with Smithy and Impact and Pobelter and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think they're as explosive. So I'm not with you on the greatest team NA has ever sent. But I don't think they're like, some people were saying that this is the weakest team we've ever sent. I don't agree with that either. I think they're kind of in line with a lot of the number 1 seeds we send.
Yeah, I just worry. I mean, Mark, tell me if I'm wrong here. That, like, it seems like they really play through Doublelift, and I feel like if somebody can just, I don't know, that might win you NA. I don't know if it gets you far at Worlds, as if you're reliant on a single point of entry into their base. Like,
I mean, what I would say is like the problem that NA runs into every time is not like that. Oh man, this one playstyle that we use is super exploitable. It's like, well, you're just not good enough, because like there's plenty of teams that win with one playstyle, like RNG, right? Like they pretty much play around Uzi, and it's the Uzi show, and they win all the time and stuff like that. So I think, to me, the problem is not that like, oh man, 2016 TSM fell apart because they played through Doublelift, then Doublelift couldn't get the leads, and so it was a bad decision to have that playstyle. I'm just like, well, they had a pretty tough group, I guess, and then they couldn't get things going, and they choked a little bit. So I don't know.
Yeah. I personally feel like this team is on par with a lot of the number 1 seeds, like you guys said. I don't think it's like any better or any worse. I think that NA's issue, in particular with the teams, and not saying that like Peter is the issue, but the teams that Peter's been on, which is like all the number 1 seeds the past couple of years have been the teams that Peter's been on, is that they underperform in their group matches. I think that those teams could have easily made it out of groups. This team can easily make it out of groups. Some of it depends on draw. The large amount of it just depends on you performing when it matters, especially in like the big deciding games. And then as far as like actually doing better than any NA team and making it to semis, I feel like that's pretty RNG based, which is to say you avoid RNG in quarters and you avoid the Korean teams in quarters, and you get a reasonable matchup to actually make it to semis.
It's RNG based, and then you're avoiding RNG.
Yes.
There we go.
So
one thing that does give me hope is that the last episode of Squad, which I didn't watch, but that Damien is doing everything in our Twitch chat to get people to watch right now, it was a lot about like the mental fortitude that they tried to build into the team. I think, and Steve brought this up in his interview on stage with Avali afterwards, and that they spent a lot of this split just trying to make sure that the team could be cohesive, work well together, overcome issues, overcome nerves. And that is interesting to me, Kelby, because you mentioned this, like, what is the major failure of NA teams in the past? You feel like it's that they underperform, that like they fall apart. Reggie's tactic in tackling like why haven't we been succeeding was to try to build a stronger team of players. Steve's tactic, seemingly after MSI, not before, but I think after MSI, seems to have been, okay, if the international failures because we're underperforming, because there's like a mental issue there, let's solve that problem and see how we do. So I do think it will be very interesting to see how that tactic plays out, right? Like, are these guys going to be way better? Because it's not just that they're getting outclassed, it's that they've been getting, mentally, they just fall apart at the seams. Everybody plays worse, and now are they going to be okay? Mark, any thoughts?
I kind of agree. I think what often happens with, especially TSM, is like the pressure does get to them where they're like NA's hope.
Right.
That kind of happened, I think, at MSI with Ole and stuff. And like, we talk about having stronger mental fortitude, and that was Steve's approach. But until I see it, I'm gonna hold my tongue, because I could easily see it again where people are like poo-pooing 100 Thieves as the 2 seed. The 3 seed's going to look pretty weak. I mean, even if it's C9, which is what fans would be most hyped for, the fact that they got crushed by TL in the finals will make everyone looking at TL again to be the hopes and saviors of NA. Doublelift's our Superman. He's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And that puts a lot of pressure on the team and him. And I'm concerned that, despite what mental fortitude training Steve has tried to do in the last 3 months, it won't make up for 5 years of what's already happened.
Or maybe he will have the golden glue effect, which is like you're in this situation where it's gone wrong for you so many times, you just come through the other side like, I don't feel pressure anymore. I know what this failure tastes
I
like.
hope.
Like, I'm not worried about it.
I hope.
And then he becomes golden god.
I think it also, like, do you guys think the expectations for TL is lower than, like, in previous years for number 1 seeds?
I personally
I feel
do,
like
for
that.
sure.
I
think
don't.
it's-
The problem is I don't know if they have lower expectations, and that might be what matters the most. Is that I actually and you're calling in right now and saying they're the best team ever, right? Like you are proof that maybe the expectations are not lower.
I think for NA as a region, they are across the board a little lower. And I feel like that happens almost every year. It's just like slowly ticks down.
Listen, that'll be the case until I do my first interview with a Korean player who says, "Well, I think Team Liquid's a contender to win all of Worlds this year," and then it'll go up
So
to the
what
top
you're
of the
saying
subreddit.
is I need to make sure you don't get to Korea and interview these people.
People
So
will.
You can't build the hype.
Yeah, I'm the reason I'm holding NA back at Worlds. We figured it out. So in the past, I've tried to crowdfund to go to these events. This time, I'm holding you guys hostage. North America, I'll be crowdfunding the opposite. Give me enough money, and I will stay home and not cover Worlds, and the team will succeed. I've been the problem. Hey, thank you so much, IC Dom, for
Thank
your
you.
call. Have a good one. All right, I think it's time for a quick chat about speaking of support. I want to shout out Omen by HP. They've been our sponsor for the show for quite some time, beginning at the beginning of this year. Last Worlds, they hooked Brode and I up with some gear so that we could get the work done over there that we needed to get done. And speaking of gear that they hooked me up with, they just hooked me up with, it's still in my backpack because I brought it with me to, Oakland, but they sent me a new 15-inch laptop. This is just came out recently. Really, really slim and nice. Fantastic for travel.
Did you
Definitely
say
go check it out.
15 inches?
Yeah, it's the Omen 15.
Oh, so it's one Travis.
It's the Omen 15, and I don't appreciate dick jokes during my sponsor ads.
Who's? Oh, sorry, I forgot you were doing a sponsor app. My bad. Go ahead.
Kelby May, sponsor expert. He's great at sales and deliverables. If you'd like to work with them,
sell Riot broadcast.
yeah. Dash, what you need to do.
Not helping myself right now.
What you need to do is talk about the size of the Mike's Subs sandwiches and compare them to other things.
we got a 12-inch sub right here.
Regardless.
Just 3 inches short of a Travis.
Yeah. Regardless, I really appreciate their support as much as I resent Kelby's anti-support of this show. And they've been doing some great stuff in the space for quite some time. I've seen a lot of people tweet and reach out mentioning that they have they've purchased Omen keyboards, they've purchased Omen hardware. That stuff is so wonderful and helpful. I really appreciate it. I just gotta say thank you to all of you for supporting Omen's support of this show, and again, thank you so much to Omen for supporting Hotline League and the content that I create. A fantastic group of people over there. Moving on. We got another caller coming up. And I want to say, by the way, I didn't interrupt the last call, but we hit 1,000 subs on this channel, which is quite
Is that
impressive.
the first time you've ever done it?
Yeah. So my previous cap right before MSI was 800. Like right around the time that I was trying to get folks to help send me to MSI, we went up to 800. About a month ago, we dropped down to like 600 or something like that. But with all the IRL streaming I was doing this week, and there were a ton of people that came in, a lot of people gifting, a lot of people sending subs. So thank you guys so much for that. It is actually very helpful. And that type of stuff, that goes to unsponsored content, or content that costs more than, maybe the production costs are pretty expensive. Sometimes we don't completely cover it. Playmakers, by the way, is a great example of a piece of content that was not sponsored at all, but did cost quite a bit of money to create. So I want to appreciate or thank you guys all. I've been waiting for Mark to move to the other channel and get the next caller.
Oh, what? I didn't.
I said at the end of the ad, I was like, and we're ready for the next caller, so I'm going to talk about sponsors. It's okay.
Sorry, I'm on Reddit because of course that gets clipped, you know. And
yeah. Are you? Oh, you're in there like doing the backpedaling.
Well, no. Someone was like, "I'm surprised Mark is abusing his Riot position like this. This is fucked up."
Oh,
and then I was like, "I don't use like if it's Riot exclusive knowledge, I don't use it ever."
Yeah, Mark commented
unless I get the okay by them, which is almost never. And so, regardless, I'll always get it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Then this guy says, you know, the only people who would know about this would be 100 Thieves and Riot staff, and I was like, wrong.
Yeah. This stuff gets spread around.
You wouldn't believe how loose-lipped this scene is.
Yeah. Because, by the way, there's probably a lot of people at 100 Thieves and Riot that are upset about this stuff or think it's stupid. They're not very good at keeping a secret, right? Like,
it doesn't even have to be that.
I mean, the fact that Mark knows about it is an example of that.
No, I just mean like 100. I don't, because this is going to kind of, if I say too much, I'll reveal who I got.
Sure.
But like, people talk, you know?
Yeah.
Always has been the case. People, like when I was on Curse and Team Liquid, we would try and limit like what was happening with us. We had plenty of holes when I was there, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just got a little distracted. Look at the next caller.
Yeah, Mark's comment, by the way, in a situation like this, I'll ask people on the scene, do you know why Ricard is starting, who they were scrimming with this week, why didn't they go back to Ricard, etc., and that's how I find out about this information. So, but again, back to the subs, by the way. Again, we hit the 1,000. Thank you so much. Dadris for your 5 subs, Baby Kangaroos for gifting to Yuna, Dwydash, Zito Doxo, Sir Malefact, who gifted a sub to Destiny Spire, Slim sent 100 bits, Kevin's Murray 2 months, Kradarif, Supreme Court, Tubes, Blue Oys, Tim Tam, Bim Bam, Sendrin 96, Consulate 64. Easy Bake It Up is here. I don't really know what that's supposed to reference. I'm not going to ask.
You know those Easy Bake Ovens?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are awesome. I mean, Easy Bake It Up, man.
Okay. Good call. Where are you calling from?
From the Detroit area.
Detroit area. All right. I was just in Detroit as I was driving out to Battle Creek, Michigan a while ago.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
Yeah, so it kind of goes along with what you guys were just talking about, but I think that the NA fan reaction to performance has had a pretty significant impact on their performance internationally speaking the last few years. And do you guys follow traditional sports at all?
No.
I do. All right, yeah, I should say.
Okay. So I'm a diehard Lions fan from the Detroit, and they just lost 48-17 tonight, and I saw them get torn up on Twitter, and it really got me thinking about just how fair weather fans wear down on teams, because like I attended the 0-16 game back in 08, and people wearing bags on their head, and you can't expect the guys to win. You can't expect them to win if you're going to dog on them like that. And I think the same thing applies to esports as well, because you've seen players like, I mean, I don't want to pick on people like Ole, but when they're in stronger mental states, they do perform a lot better. And I think just shifting the mindset of like shitting on our teams whenever they're doing bad, memeing the hell out of them, to, you know, supporting them when they are down, helping them recover, because, you know, we are human at the end of the day, regardless if they're getting paid to do this or not. Just really will help them with their success, and especially internationally when they do have the pressure. And I think you guys mentioned NA's only hope, you know, it kind of helps them avoid that mental degradation. And I'm just curious what you guys think about that.
Players need to stay off social media at all costs, and teams need to do a better job enforcing it. When we were doing the Dota boot camp, EG went through, I'm going to make a Dota analogy, but it's something we talked about. EG went through a year this year where they have historically, their Dota roster has been like the most beloved in the space by far, and this year they became like the most hated team in the league. They became the villains, like infamous, or very polarizing, right? And it's very, very difficult, I think, when you have players who have been loved for such a long period of time to suddenly be like the villains in a scenario. So we tried to really seriously enforce, you know, people not going on social media because Twitch chat just becomes toxic. And I think, yeah, especially for somebody like Ole, where you have the MSI situation, or even like, you know, like I imagine it's hard for people who have memeable names like Cody Sun and stuff when this shit goes on. Like you need to do everything in your power to be really serious about keeping your players off social.
I mean, Pole Belter talked about that in the panel interview at the end. He
Yep.
talked about how he came back from MSI and his performance was poor at the beginning of the split because he saw everybody talking about how like all the other teams sent people like I don't know, like all these all-star mids, and they like, and then NA sent Pobelter, and he said that really got to him, and that
Yeah.
lowered his performance. And so I hear you on that. I don't know if it's going to change, but I do hear the call for it being a good one. Easy bake it up.
Yeah. You're never going to change the audience. They will never stop shitting on people when they fuck up and stop making jokes. Like it's a really nice sentiment, and it would be really great if if we lived in this fantasy world where we could rally an entire fan base to always be positive little flowers about our players and, always like be super supportive and like, it's okay, Zix, the draft will go better next week, Link, like, it's okay, like, it's a bad Anivia game. Those things happen. You'll get them next time, buddy, but that's never going to happen. The onus falls on the org and the players to police themselves about staying away from that negativity.
So on the one hand, like, I'm one of those people who's like, yeah, move the needle, though. Like, it should be encouraged, and we should talk about it and be like, everyone, the 2,000 people in Twitch chat, when TL goes and lays a turd out the first game of Worlds, don't go on Reddit and say, we're fucked.
Yeah.
Put the pressure on them. Don't do it. I think it's fine to say that,
Yeah.
but, like,
yeah,
some people aren't going to hear that message.
Right.
And some people aren't. And to Kelby's point, like, a lot of it comes down to the pros, and it's just how it works, because part of the fan experience is having that kind of cathartic release of, like, we just fucking lost or we just won, and going on Reddit and instantly being able to spill your emotions. And I would never want to cut that part of being a fan off, because I think it's so integral to being a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. So one thing that's funny is we were talking to a caller a little bit ago, and the conversation was around, is it good that expectations are low for NA, and then there's not too much pressure, and the assumption, of course, being that if there's like too much support and too much expectation, that the team will suffer. But now we're talking about a separate thing, which I'm not saying is wrong, that if there is too little enthusiasm or too much doubt, then the team will suffer. And as a second thing, I think it's very funny. For a long time, I've heard about how in the is it LPL or LCK? I think it's LCK, but originally I thought it was LPL. One of the two. There's a fan meme. I think it's LPL now. I think there's a fan meme called "Poisoning the Milk," where you intentionally shit talk your players ahead of time because you think you are going to jinx. If you believe in the team too much, you're going to jinx your chances. So everybody goes on the forums and they're like, actually, Team Liquid has been really bad. I don't think they're going to do it. There's no way they could do it. That's just not going to happen. In the hopes that like they're going to end up winning. So it's just, it's LCK. Apparently it's a KT meme. Or maybe it's both now. Who knows? But regardless, I find that very funny. It made me kind of think about this.
Yeah, I can definitely see that for sure, because I mean, you see a lot of athletes that also perform a lot better when they do have a chip on their shoulder. So I'm not sure if that's necessarily along the lines of that, or if it is just a superstition thing. But yeah, I can feel it. I guess my call was really about, I think you said shifting the needle, kind of, where can we establish, like, because obviously, Kelby, like you said, it's not going to be everyone. You can't take that away from the fans to have those ups and downs, but establishing a base of people that can still be there, because if you have everyone against you at the end of the day, it's kind of shitty to be a pro. What are you really doing it for?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Very good. Easy Bake It Up, thank you so much for your call.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah. Mark, before you leave, I have this idea. I don't know why I thought about it at the end of that call, but I came up with it on the drive down. I was talking to Broden about it. And Kelby, I'm very curious about your thoughts. What if every week we had a segment on the show where we targeted a non-endemic brand? Like, I thought about this because we stopped at Panda Express, and somebody was like, sponsored by Panda Express. I'm like, and then we get everybody on Hotline League to tweet at Panda Express and say you should sponsor esports. And then the next week we do it again. And the idea is that eventually Hotline League, this show, is responsible for a multi-million-dollar deal. And, of course, there's some legal arguments to be made that, maybe we'd all deserve a cut of that deal. But But regardless, we'd be able to bring in some crazy company, and it's just always fun. Who are we going to pick? Maybe one week it's Panda Express. Maybe the next it's I don't know.
How about we start with Elon Musk? He was there.
I feel like let's wait till the news cycle calms down a little bit on Elon Musk.
Oh,
Travis, I appreciate your desire.
We're gonna do it, Kelby.
Enthusiasm.
Kelby, don't shit on this idea.
I'm not gonna shit on it. I'm just saying, like I think your heart
Somebody
is
says
in
pick
the right
Trojan.
place.
Somebody says pick Trojan.
It will never, ever, ever happen. But
Really? That makes me want to try it even more.
if you pick a small enough company, fine. But you said non-endemic.
Well, you can't pick an endemic. They're inherently in the space.
Yeah, but maybe they're not spending money on this program, or maybe you pick like you have to pick a small non-endemic. Like they're not in the space, but they're not a big company.
I have a funny story that might work with this. I forget who it was. It was one Riot caster to another, where like they got a hold of their like Twitter account and they were like kind of just memeing them, and they made them follow like a fuckload of pizza accounts like Domino's, Papa John's, like everything, including like they started following like local ones, with like no followers, and like I forget who it was, but they're reasonably sized, like 100K Twitter followers, and they fucking like the pizza place like DM them and they're like, hey dude, thanks so much for the follow. we love the LCS or something.
Yeah. Nice.
So I think we just need to target local non-endemic businesses.
I will say though, one idea that I really like, and I don't consume their products too much. Somebody in Twitch chat said Wendy's, because they're so active on social media that if you start like a campaign, the problem is I think you'd have to do it every week to get them.
Yeah, the edgy social media intern does not have the ear of the CMO for Wendy's. As much as
but you got to assume
League,
that Wendy's pays a lot of attention to their social media stuff.
Sure, and as much as I love Hotline League, we are not a big enough community to move the needle for
Kelby
Wendy's.
says we can't do it.
Yes, I do.
Kelby agrees.
Prove me wrong.
Kelby agrees with me. We should target local businesses.
Can we find something in the middle?
Let's find a sushi place nearby.
Yeah, that gives
but
Travis
they don't
free
have
sushi every night
marketing
on show or
budgets.
something.
All right.
Yeah, you're right. They don't. They'll give you free product. You should aim for product.
Let's get some free product, dude. I can eat sushi on air. I haven't eaten dinner tonight.
Travis doesn't want
I
to.
don't want them to sponsor.
Travis?
I don't want them to sponsor
joke.
Hotline
We
League
can do
necessarily. I want them to come in with a spend on the LCS or on Team Liquid, Team Legends 1 or something. Kelby, I'm trying to help make your job easier.
My job? You mean Riot's job?
Do you not sell stuff in the?
I don't sell stuff for Riot.
Certainly, no. I'm saying any of this stuff, team
okay.
stuff.
Okay, you know what? You're right. Let's go. Actually, I almost just gave away my thing. I do.
Who do you sell for, Kelby?
I knew you were angling for that. I almost gave it away too. Yeah.
So he says, get Circuit City.
I don't think they have a ton of budget right now.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take another caller and think about it. Maybe on the next call, or after the next one, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, Twitch chat. Start coming up with a.
We need like a middle size. I want something that's not local. Like more, they're a chain, but they're like smaller.
Is In-N-Out the right size?
In-N-Out might be, but I feel like 100 Thieves can already get that. But maybe that's the right size. Maybe it's like a regional sponsor rather than a. The only problem is that the way market, like, we don't hit regions, we hit
the world.
Yeah, we do.
We do. Anyways, let me get the next caller.
Okay.
The world of esports.
Syndrin96, thank you. Consulate64, Jedi Mace, who said Double H is by far the greatest North American player of all time, sent 405 bits. I am to Hex, sent $5. Do you guys think they should have streamed the pre-show on day 2 by Romaine? It was epic and it feels like a missed opportunity. No, because they were streaming the countdown instead. Deadly Yet subbed, Quad Demon subbed, Ribbon Shoe resubbed for 4 months. Guster for Robin, Zafragan Glucinemin. You guys are literally just making up names. Fez is here. Fez, where are you calling from?
I am calling from Mobile, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama. Okay. And what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I wanted to talk about, it's pretty much your shitting on TSM weekly thing. Basically,
All right,
I
this
was
feels
saying,
very personal from the start. Go ahead, though.
well, I'm actually a 100 Thieves fan, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Okay.
But basically, I thought that TSM's performance in the third place match was pretty much kind of like every one of their performances, where they were more so reacting to everything than actually being proactive the whole time. And our whole prognosis was basically, let's wait for Cody to make a mistake after they saw game 3 and game 4. And it just pretty much, it's just pretty upsetting because a lot of the community gets really upset at 100 Thieves. I know Marks has as well. But I really believe that, you know, I don't think TSM would be any more better than 100 Thieves at Worlds, to be honest with you. And it's, I think why a lot of people think they will be is because it's Sven, Mithy, Bjergsen, Hanser. It's like the old success of names is carrying them to that status.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. Like, I didn't walk away from that TSM 100 Thieves series. Like, my God, TSM would have been a great representative for NA at Worlds, and now they might not go. You know, like, I don't think that's how I felt about that series. Like, it's sad that TSM, like, or not sad, but like, it's both these teams had to fight tooth and nail for that, and it wasn't super clean. What I will say about the 100 Thieves point before going back to TSM is that, like, the only people 100 Thieves have beat in a best of 5 this year is Clutch and FlyQuest. And they lost 2 best of 5s and end up in Worlds and like in a row. So, like, I understand why people are disappointed in 100 Thieves. But at the same token, to your point, like, TSM is not functioning well and are in a lot of ways getting their support off brand name. I actually do agree with that, where it's like, we've seen Bjergsen and Sven and Mithy at Worlds before, and they've done pretty well. So they, like, you know, we want to see them again. But they don't work as a unit right now. So if you actually look at this team, you probably wouldn't be excited about them to Worlds. So I kind of agree with that point as well.
I think it's really foolish to care about any team at Worlds aside from Team Liquid right now. Like, I feel, to be fair, I will say that this is the way I also felt the last 2 years, where, like, TSM, it felt like there was such a big gap between them and everybody else. But especially after watching third and fourth place match and semifinals and finals, it feels like the gap between TL and the other 2 teams that are going to go to Worlds from North America is just gigantic. And like, they're the only team that has, like, a good shot at, I don't know, doing something. And for NA, the definition is different depending on who you ask. But for me, doing something is making semifinals. And not making out of groups, I don't think that making out of groups is doing something. Yeah, so I feel like TL is the only team that really right now is showing us that, and everybody else looks so bad by contrast.
Mark?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to ask, and I know that this is a little off topic, but I feel like we'd have to have this discussion sometime tonight. You shut me up if you feel like you've got another person in the can for this, but is Cloud9 as bad as they looked? Because I ran into Jack. You weren't there, right? This was right before I think I saw you in the hotel lobby.
Oh, yeah, no, that was that. I came down late.
Okay.
I knew this conversation.
Yeah, Jack was there. And Jack was saying, and, you know, he's a team owner. Of course, he's going to want to say some uplifting stuff. But he was saying, look, this past week we had some really shitty scrims. We tried to, like, really overthink it, and then we were suddenly losing a ton. So then we tried to go back to our conventional side, and we weren't, like, I do feel like, especially given that Cloud9 beat Team Liquid not too long ago. I know it was a best of 1, but I do feel like Cloud9 is better than what we saw from them this weekend at finals, and that's part of the reason why I still think they're going to make it through the gauntlet. And I still think that they are if they make it through gauntlet, and at least if they don't look like crap going through it, that they could still be a good team for us at Worlds.
Well, they can be. Like, that's happened every year, right? Where TSM was the favorite, and then, like, another team actually, like, came out and, like, did a lot better. Like, but right now, it feels real bad. And I don't know, man, because like I think for sure Cloud9 obviously could have had an off series, but considering they played TSM super close, and then they got beat by TL so bad, and TSM also played 100T really close, who had just played Cloud9 really close, and 100T got bopped by TL. Like, it was a 3-1 series, but it felt like a really lopsided 3-1 series in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I'm just, even if TL has a better, or C9 has a better series, I feel like TL is probably a significantly better team right now.
Yeah,
Mark?
so I had a similar feeling to you, Travis, where I was like, well, they did beat them twice in the regular season pretty convincingly, and they were both super hot in the back half of the split, and C9 was like the best team. And so I did ask some people like what they thought, like, you know, did you think C9 underperformed in any way? And a lot of people didn't actually think they underperformed that hard. Like, I think a lot of people expected more out of them, but people were saying that, you know, these are other players who have been scrimming both teams or something like that. They were saying like, you know, no, I actually think just TL is a way better team than they are. And I think it is scary going into Worlds, like if they qualify to the gauntlet, that like the people who seem to do the worst in playoffs when it mattered the most was the new guys. Like Blabber has been a complete non-factor in the playoffs, where he was one of the most important parts of their rise in the regular season. And Golden Glue had a decent series against TSM, like not great. And then he did not have a good series versus TL, or good game, I guess. He only got one game.
Yeah.
So like, I do think that they're capable of more and they're capable of better, but I think reasons that they did not perform are things that could easily still be true come Worlds, just because it's like, these are really young ass players who are not going to be ready for or probably not going to be ready for the moment.
Yeah.
I would like to say one thing on it, if it's okay.
Yeah, of course.
I think C9, the problem, I think why TL basically bopped them so hard in the finals was, and I think Jat made a great point of it, was the vision was so good from TL. And they basically countered all their aggression, and they figured out how to do it by just putting vision in very important places during certain parts of the game where they knew C9 would be very aggressive with their young players. And I also think that a lot of the C9 younger players have hit that wall, and their mentality from here on out is going to be really important, especially in the gauntlet.
To your point, Fez, Pobelter also kind of said in an interview, like after he got slammed by the Swole Bros, he went and like looked at what they did to him, and you know, part of it he was saying was the matchup, but part of it was just like, well, I studied those games and I looked at what they tried to do, and I was a lot more intelligent with Smithy about controlling that stuff. And that rookie wall that you're talking about is a very real thing. Acadians talked about it. A lot of people have talked about it. So it's scary stuff for C9, not necessarily in terms of qualifying for Worlds. I still think they're probably the favorite, but like, I'm not going in with like the kind of typical C9 confidence that we had after years of Impact, Jensen, Sneaky, and whoever in the jungle.
Yeah, I think Kelby made a good point of it too, of like TL is like the pinnacle of what we have right now in NA, and maybe it's nice that the two teams beside, you know, or the one team that goes out of all the teams in the gauntlet, it may be a pleasant surprise at Worlds. We never know. So
yeah, I think it's also possible too that TL is just a much better best of series team, and groups is not best of. You know, like it's a lot of rapid fire matches, and I think that it's very possible maybe that TL is also just a team that is really good when they have that time to prep for their series.
Well, and also on the flip side for C9, like if we're talking about they can be kind of controlled if you know what they're trying to do, and maybe they're if you know how to prep for their drafts and you ban Kindred Zillion and you're smart about this kind of stuff, then maybe they're easily controlled. But in a best of one where everyone's prepping for a lot of games as well as trying to figure out the meta for themselves, people might not be 100% ready for C9, and maybe they're a bit better in that situation then. But like everyone's talking about, whoever goes third has to play. I think as Emily was pointing out in the chat, like they have to play in the gauntlet first, or the play-ins first as well. Whoever comes through the gauntlet. Yeah. So even if C9 is going to be better in like an explosive best of one setting, they still have to play a best of series to get there on the international stage against probably a wild card region.
IDC play-ins.
Yeah, I mean that's how everybody feels, but still, like they are a component, I think, of the bigger narrative.
Yeah,
for a team's success at Worlds. Hey, I want to thank you so much for calling in, Fez.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me.
Yeah, have a good
Yeah,
one.
keep up the good work, dude.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
See ya.
All right. Wait,
That was a game development reference.
Mark.
Hello.
What about like Warby Parker?
Oh, they're glasses, right?
Yeah.
I
So
don't
they're
wear
like a
glasses
direct-to-consumer brand that now has some stores open.
Travis, I can't even.
A lot of people wear glasses.
Send me a product for me to use. I can't
Is this an
endorse it.
on-air discussion or an off-air
People wear
discussion?
no. We need one for this episode.
They're not gonna watch this anyways. I can't endorse a product I don't use, right?
Well, we're not endorsing. We're suggesting that they look to find. We're not trying to find Hotline League sponsors. We've got a great one. Let me throw up their logo on the screen right now. Look, it's spinning. But I do, maybe they come in. I feel like they're mid-tier, right? Let's first off, they're all over U.S., so we don't have to worry about it being regional. And then they, I think it could work.
What about DiGiorno's?
Mark, if you're worried about
hasn't
them
DiGiorno's
not
done
getting
this?
visibility, I'm sure they'll see it.
I also just am not excited about it.
Okay, you come up with the next one.
I said DiGiorno's right now, off the top.
Okay, I'm vetoing that one. Kelby, your turn.
It's not delivery, it's shit.
Kelby, it's your turn.
I'm just kidding.
It's food that's in my freezer, and I
Kelby,
can
do you
eat it
got one?
whenever.
What?
Do you have
I already
brand?
said what's not going to happen here.
Wait, no, you're not playing the game right. That's not how you play the game. You're supposed to come up with a brand.
Pass.
All
I
right.
like Twitch chat suggestion. Tyler One. What if we got sponsored by Tyler
I
One?
don't think that's a thing.
Dude. That's actually such a good idea.
Twitch chat literally just suggests porn. They just rotate through all the different
Pornhub?
porn websites. Yes.
I mean, that could, that's just a random one that I threw out there.
I like the Tyler One idea, guys. Tweet at Tyler One and tell him to sponsor. our show.
No.
Oh, okay, no, don't do that.
I just formed a really good relationship with them. I don't
It's
want
my
it
wife
to be.
is giving me right now.
You don't want to troll him.
Kelby, no porn.
Oh, I almost spit out my water. That was so close.
All right, let's move on to the next caller. I will
Okay.
shout out some subs. Okay. Peace, Loves, and Lomo, 7 months. Ernstad, Twitch Prime Ladder Slider, Band-Aid for You, Fletch Antoine, Sam the Loquacious, Hollow Moon LOL, Liz Havler, Impossible Katana, Robot Russ, for 10 months. Boop Poop Poop, subbed, Suchi Maya, Mufflin Puffin, Dan Floor, and Scrapjack. Lacuna Craft is joining us. Lacuna Craft, I feel like you've been here before, or I recognize you from Twitch chat.
No, it's been around for a long time.
Okay, well, welcome. Happy to have you on the show.
Thank you.
What do you want to talk about on the show? First off, where are you from?
I am from San Francisco Bay Area,
San
Oakland
Francisco.
native.
Were you at the Oakland native? Were you at the finals this weekend?
Yes, I actually was. I went to Sunday only like Kilby.
Okay, yeah, not very many people. went
Wait,
to
sorry,
Saturday.
one more time? I was not, transparently, I would not
He
hear
just
that one.
said
He was
he
looking.
went
at
to
porn.
the finals.
He went to the.
only.
He only went to the finals like you did, Kelby.
Oh, okay, cool.
Sunday only.
Okay, so Lacuna Craft, what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
My point was very simple. The NA Finals was a great event, a great show. It's just the things around it just felt abysmal. Like there's a lack of food vendors. People were waiting in line for a long, long time. At least 2 or 3 people around me, just sitting around me, straight up missed the games just because of how long it took to get food.
Kelby.
Travis, you want to take this one?
Kelby.
Travis?
I was at catering downstairs. I had no problem getting food, but
Yeah,
Kelby,
no, I
you were.
was downstairs in the Crown Royal Club, and in my section, I only had to wait a little bit for food.
No, but do you not want to? I'm just confused. Do you not want to talk about your? Because we talked about this at the event.
Yeah,
I'm trying to understand
just
why you're
confused
trying to
why
dodge
you don't
this.
want to talk because we talked about this.
But you were the one that experienced it. My experience
the
was,
weirdest-
Kelby's at the front of the line. I just walked past him. Kelby, can you get me a hot dog? I'll tell him I'll pay him, but then I never will.
So Travis, the reason that I was reluctant to share is because last week I was a little or last time I was on, it was a little.
I could
rough
sell
on-
food better than Riot.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was a little rough on some riders, and I saw a rider at the event, somebody that I used to see all the time when I was a manager, and I got a hug from him, and I felt like maybe it was not as enthusiastic a hug as I would have received if I hadn't said all those things. Anyways, but yes, we did have the conversation where I was slightly disappointed, I guess you could say, that in the entire Oracle Arena for the main ring, which is like where the majority of fans have access to, there was one food vendor open for the entire arena, and the line was very long.
Sold out event too, so it's just like, okay, you have 8,000 some odd people, one food vendor. I literally, there's someone that went to go get food at the end of game 1 and did not get back until mid game 3.
Jesus.
So I saw some people asking in Twitch chat, so maybe Kelby, you can tell me if you know this. People are asking, is that on Riot or is that on the arena?
I actually do not know.
So I heard this. I heard that there were a lot of challenges with the venue this time. Mark, I don't know if you heard that.
I am actually pretty isolated to things about the game.
Yeah.
I don't talk very much to event coordinators and stuff.
In passing, I had heard that the arena was a challenge. And so I don't know if that includes food or not. But I would not be surprised if this okay, let's be clear here. Riot has done some really stupid shit this year, and it's been driving me crazy. But I gotta imagine they've done enough of these now that they know to open more than one food vendor on the main level. So I'm guessing that was not them, that was the venue. Maybe they could have pushed more. Maybe this is a lesson. Maybe there's like a contract that they now need to make sure the stuff is in, because that's often how a lot of these things go, is like you do the deal and then you realize like, oh wait, we didn't. But like I'm guessing the food situation was not them, though maybe they could have done more to fix it. But were there merch issues as well, Lacuna Craft?
There was at the very beginning, just because I only saw 2 merch vendors the entire time, and very beginning they were just swamped, just like the food was. So if you wanted anything, if you weren't there within the first 10, like 50, 100 people inside the door, you just were waiting for however long it took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm
Rachel says in chat, by the way, it took me a whole game to get a bottle of water.
Yeah, same.
What I'm really confused about with the food situation is why, I feel like for both parties, they would want more food vendors to be open. Like, Riot obviously wants more food vendors to be open so that fans can, get fed easily and quickly. And I think if I'm the venue, I obviously want more food vendors to be open because it allows me to sell more product. Maybe you have the argument that, well, everybody who's going to eat is going to stand in the line and get food regardless, and it costs us more to have more staff to have different stands open. But the people who are working these stands are not getting paid a ton of money. And also I'm sure that the Oracle Arena has been open enough for a long enough period of time, and they have enough data to say once we hit this certain number of fans in the venue, it makes sense to open another food stand because it allows us to be more efficient with the lines. And actually, we do see that, somebody looks at the food line and they say, well, fuck it, I'm just going to, not order food because I'm not going to stand in this line. Because I'm sure there's a ton of people that wanted food and saw that line and were just like, YOLO, dude, there's no way that I'm standing in this line. I would just eat after the event. And then the venue misses out on revenue because of that. Riot is not taking a cut of the concessions. I'm 90% sure with their agreement with the venue. The venue is getting that concession money. So the venue is getting the revenue. I'm sure that they want to sell. That's why I'm confused. I think both parties want to sell as much food as possible. I don't get it. I don't know.
And to be honest, I did see on Twitter the first day, the esports writer Fion on Fire, he did mention a few times that he overheard staff talking about, why don't we have more people here? Why isn't there more open? We are just swamped. What is this? So I have no idea. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how that's split. It seems like a glaring flaw that should have been fixed way beforehand.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. It's not an ideal situation.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking through Fion's tweets to see if I could find the.
It was
the
on
tweet
Saturday
from him.
specifically.
Yeah, it's fine. I believe you. I mean, I just was wondering if you said anything specific. Or
We had
whatever.
pictures of the lines, and they're just wrapped around themselves almost. It was insane.
Oh yeah, here we go. Line for food and alcohol at the Oracle. We'll put his tweet up. Shout out to Fion for this. But oops, that's not what I want. Title T. I want this. Yeah, I don't know. That was really weird. I mean, Riot. Say what you will. I think they are okay. Well, I lost it now. Say what you will. I think that they really do care about fan experience, and they oftentimes will do more for the fan experience. Like they will, like media will get the shaft, right? Because like, oh, this is bad for media or for fan experience or sponsors or whatever. Like they oftentimes prioritize, or they usually prioritize fan experience over this. So I
Right.
assume, I just want to give them the benefit of the doubt on this one, even though it is obviously they need to fix it for the future, but it does feel like it's probably a venue thing.
And sorry. Someone
ahead.
pointed out in chat that like that picture you just posted was from the lower level that had less lines. There was people wrapped around that inner ring, like Kelby was saying, wrapped all the way halfway across the stadium. It was just, I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
I don't know how you see
depending on your seat section, you could get into these like special clubs that had their own dedicated food lines where the lines weren't as bad. But yeah, if you had one of those like more GA tickets, you just pretty screwed for food.
I don't know. You can go tweet at Oracle Arena. Talking about tweeting at people, Oracle Arena has a Twitter. You can hit them up and ask about it because I just don't know why that would be the case.
Well, I know people that work for Oracle, and it's just, I asked them about, hey, I'm going to this event. Well, I see you working, and they're like, no, I'm working the A's game next door. I have
Oh
no
yeah,
idea about that
maybe
thing.
Kangaroo says maybe it's because they had to staff the Oakland A's game concessions at the same time and were understaffed. But there's got to be times where they run both these things. I don't know. The fact of the matter is we don't know. I don't
Yeah.
want to spend too much time on this longer because it's just frustrating and shitty. And hopefully Riot can fix it in the future. I don't know how, but hopefully they can.
Yeah.
Sorry you experienced that, Luke Kindercraft. That sucks though. I feel bad for all the fans that did have
Yeah,
that.
and I think the worst thing for me is just it was my first big League of Legends event, and everything outside was awesome. All the team stuff was awesome, but just going inside and seeing that was just like, okay, I can see.
Yeah.
Just Jesus, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Anyway, thank you, Luke Kindercraft.
Thank you. Sorry for the downer topic, and shout out to Omen by HV, and yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Okay. Moving on. Oh, wait. Do we have another brand yet? Any other suggestions?
Can we get a cat food brand?
Oh,
Meow Mix.
You know who follows me is on
Petco.
Twitter, and they have for years. They've followed me for like 4 years. I don't know why. Tidy Cats. Tidy Cats follows
that litter?
Tidy Cats follows 797 accounts. All right, it's not like they follow 30,000 or whatever.
Dude, someone didn't know they were on their corporate account when they chose to follow you. 100%.
No, because I've tweeted about how Tidy Cats follows me, and I don't understand why. And then somebody replied, and then Tidy Cats was like memed in response to it or something. Like they
You don't
didn't, and
even
they could have unfollowed me 2 months later, but they've stayed following me.
I don't get it because like you don't even have a cat.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
You
the
don't
whole
have a
point.
pet. Yeah.
Like I don't understand. 797 accounts, and Tidy Cats follows me.
I kind of like their
Travis,
Twitter
this-
feed.
Their
Travis, this-
Twitter feed is
this-
great.
This sounds like Destiny.
Should we? The
I think we found our
really
target.
look. I want to prove Kelby wrong, and I'm not sure if Tidy Cats is a natural brand alignment
Travis,
with esports.
do you know how many fucking esports people have animals and cats?
Kelby, if you
Everyone
had
has
to pitch
cats.
Tidy Cats, what would your pitch be? How would you go about this?
Twitch chat, do you have a cat? Press 1 if you have a cat.
Kelby, make the deck
Oh,
right
man.
now. I want to know what's
that's
the
a tough
pitch?
one, actually.
You're talking to the Tidy Cat CMO. You got him. You've got him.
Kelby,
You're
I'm
sitting
getting-
next
I'm
to him
getting market data
at the
right-
airport.
I'm
and
getting
he's
market
like-
data right now. Look how many people have fucking cats who are watching right now. Look
Yeah,
at
yes.
this market data.
Market data, Kel. We've got market data live for you right now.
Yeah,
When
just
you-
show them this.
When you're pitching brands, what I'll traditionally do is I'll look at their activity and what the brand like is about and stuff, and think like, how does this authentically integrate into what we're doing or what the property is doing, right? Like, how do these guys help each other? How do they sync up? And yeah, I think Mark is going to be the feature of the deck.
Right here, this shot is the feature.
Make sure, NA is shitting
You
the
know
bed
what
at
we
Worlds
could do?
again. We'll make sure that your cat doesn't shit the bed by using Tidy Cats.
Dude, it's so good.
When we have collars for the like Tidy Cats is like the litter box stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's no stinky smell.
Right.
So we need to have an integrated portion of our show where like when somebody has like a shitty opinion, or actually because that's not going to sound great for Tidy Cats, but we put them in the litter box or something.
Yeah.
And the Tidy Cats makes it smell better.
Yeah.
Or like Mark comes in with the Tidy Cats cleanup or something like that and says like, no, this is why. Yeah, that's great. All right, so somebody comes on,
Okay.
they have a bad opinion, all right, and then Mark comes in with the Tidy Cats cleanup and sets them straight and sets them on the path to smelling good or something like that.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
have a custom graphic that comes up, and there's a moment, there's a
an
sound
animated
effect.
cat that walks
He
across.
pulls the cat up into his arms. Oh my God.
And I haven't shit.
Tidy Cats!
You heard last week from
Sponsor
Kelby.
the show!
You heard 2 weeks ago from Kelby that he could sell LCS better than Riot. You just figured out why, by the way. He just
Yeah,
demonstrated it, right? We gave him a prompt. We gave it an obscure brand that has no relevance to esports directly, and he made it happen. All right. I think Tidy
I'm
Cats is it.
expecting-
I'm on board with this.
I'm on board.
yeah.
Travis, you
Okay.
want to tweet first and we all retweet it, or what's
Yeah,
what's the
yeah.
game
I
plan?
think I think we all need. I think we need like a.
Everyone tweets them. Here, let's. Get
What
a
if
copy
I
that-
tweet and people reply to my tweet?
No, why don't we just have a copy that we give to Twitch chat so that all of them just copy and paste it?
Okay,
and all
okay.
of them
Kelby,
send?
what do you think? What's a good way to get a brand
good
excited?
point.
If I have, maybe if the CMO is a fan, or the CMO's kid is a fan of Mark Z, that's usually the best.
Okay,
intro.
I know.
All right, but
I know.
of the
Half
two
the
other
brands in esports
strategies.
are because the CMO kid is in charge, is a fan of something. No, they haven't tweeted since 2017. Somebody says. No, I think if you go to their tweets and replies, they tweeted September 9th. They tweeted yesterday. They just haven't tweeted anything. But if you look at their replies, they've been tweeting back at people.
The fucking social media person has the easiest job on the face of the planet. What'd you do today, Timmy? I replied to somebody.
Look, we need this person to be an
Zero
ally. They're
content
going to come back
generation.
and look at the VOD of this, Kelby.
Right. No,
I
I'm
think their
saying
social
we can-
media intern is a genius, by the way.
No.
Yeah,
we
I
can-
love him. Her.
We can offer them the much more original content creation than they're doing right now. They literally haven't had a post in almost a full year.
Okay. All right. So, what is the tweet campaign that we're running?
I'm putting this on my cat so I can screen cap it. Send a picture
What?
tweet.
Can we get another caller in here?
No, Kelby, I'm asking you, what
Yeah.
is the copy that we use for this tweet?
Man,
'Cause
this,
we're gonna do it
this
right
is a
now.
lot of free consulting
Yeah.
that's happening right now, Travis.
we're
You're gonna
helping-
owe me so many Dota games.
I'm
It's
not
also
going to
gonna
say
help your-
I'm not going to
it's
say
gonna
what
pad
you
your
do, but
resume.
you do work with brands. You might end up. I'm doing free. I'm getting you the doorway into the brand right now.
Were you gonna say you're giving me a free something?
Yes, a
We're giving you free exposure.
free
We're showing
gateway
people
into
how
this
good you are.
brand, Kelby. What is the
showing
copy?
you-
What is the
Thank
copy?
you.
Twitch chat thinks you're a god now. So just
That's, oh my god, that's funny. Come on, I don't have copy for this. Tweet
Okay.
off
We'll
the
take
top of my
another
head.
caller. When we get back from that caller, we're gonna have some copy. I'm gonna think
all right,
about
all
it.
right.
Thank you to CMully6 for the sub. I Killed the Red Queen, Kanoki, Bryce, Who, The Xanter, Senpai Please, Noodleman, King Philbin, Korean Vibes, CT Mason 39, Dr. Pepperoni, and Ari Waddle, who resubbed for 7 months. HP by Omen, sponsored by Travis. It is Omen by HP, by the way, but I appreciate the attempt. We got Quademon on the show. What do you
It's
call him?
Quaidmon. Yeah, I know. It's pretty bad.
God, that was so alpha. I don't know why it just sounded.
Did
so
you just
good the way
change
you
your
said
name
it.
while I was trying to pronounce it to Cade?
Yeah,
so funny.
that's. I thought Cade would be easier, and I'm
Okay.
come from Austin.
Texas.
Cade?
Yeah, Texas indeed.
Cade, I You've already said your name. You tell where you come from. I don't need to take it away, dude. It's all you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just wanted to talk about Smithy and his career and how I think he might be behind Doublelift and Bjergsen, probably the third best player NA's had, or NA has.
Well, you just said tied, and then you said third best.
Oh, third best. Yeah, my bad.
Wait, he said best jungler too, I think.
Yeah, best jungler as well, easily.
Yeah. Anyway, so what's your argument?
Well, he's
You
got
can't
4
just
titles.
say it. You have to have a defense, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, he's got 4. He's got 4 titles.
Mm-hmm.
He also was part of the 2016 MSI team, CLG, which best performance internationally. I just think his resume speaks for himself. And another example is like this weekend. Look, I think he really, really controlled C9, didn't let them do anything. He really shows, especially his experience against younger junglers. Like he destroys Onda all the time. He destroyed Blabber. Svenskaren's not a rookie or anything, but still destroyed him. Just think resume speaks for himself.
So I'm working on this Tidy Cats copy, Mark. So you're gonna have to.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought Kate seemed so like he had it, so I just was gonna let him make.
Yeah, no, I
let
think
things go.
I mean, I think it's hard to argue against best jungler. I think like Meteos had his time, but he's been in and out for a little while now. So I would say Smithy for sure, best jungler. Top 3, you gotta think more about that one. Bjergsen and Doublelift are pretty clearly 1 and 2, I'd say. In some order. Maybe we debate more about that, but I'm trying to think who would be 3. Or if would it not be Afro Moon?
Afro, maybe? Yeah. Afro was the first one that came to my mind. I think also like where do you put this might be more controversial, but Dyrus for such a long period of time was like the stable rock and top lane for NA. I know internationally, like, but Dyrus was like definitively like best top laner for such a long period of time.
Well, I would look at some more of these other guys too, like Sneaky. Like as much as I love Smithy, has Smithy ever gotten out of groups?
I don't believe.
Are we using that as any real measurement?
Well, I think it's worth thinking about. I'm not saying I
Yeah.
am. I'm just trying to come up with other cases. Like, all right, so Smithy's won 4 titles. You know, kind of hard to go against that in any way.
Yeah.
But what else would people say? Like, you know, people have had more success internationally, even though he did have that 2016 MSI run. I don't know. I would still probably put him number 3.
Yeah, I feel like if High's career would have
Was
been a
longer.
little bit longer, because he was so instrumental, and I think also if Meteos's like high period had been longer, because I think for like a peak jungler, like he was more dominant for a pretty good period of time than any jungler has ever been in NA before. Like Meteos was fucking so good for like 3 splits where it was like super insane.
I'd still agree with Smithy though, number 3. The tougher debate now might be Bjergsen or Doublelift 1 or 2.
Yeah, I think that next year is going to be this is not your topic at all, caller, but I think next year is going to be really, really interesting for the 1 and 2 discussion between Peter and Bjerg. Because I think that probably right now you still have to go Bjergsen. But I think next year, if one of them wins like 2 and the other one doesn't win any, then it's that person. If they both win 1, then but maybe Peter wins MVP. It's very interesting. But I think Afro is probably like the guy who's contesting Smithy for number 3. You think? That's who's like most sticking out in my mind.
I would say it's between Afro and Sneaky.
Yeah.
I would say Sneaky over Afro, if only because of Sneaky's presence at Worlds.
No, that's true.
And Afro, unfortunately, misses it frequently.
Well, they both only have 2 titles too, so it's not even like there's that much of a difference.
Has Sneaky ever won an MVP?
No.
I
don't even think he's been on the ballot.
Yeah, Afro did.
It is true. Afro does have the MVP.
Okay, so wait, back to the original question now that I'm done with this Tidy Cats copy, which we'll review in a second. Is Xmithie number 3?
Well, that's what we were just talking about. We're
looping back to the original question. Is Xmithie number 3? We're back on track.
We gave our answers already.
After that slight
I think
detour.
Xmithie is number 3.
Yeah, I don't know if you missed it, Travis, but we answered yes. And
I
that's
think
why we started talking about other things.
Afro and Sneaky might be the only people who can contest them.
Wait, that's literally just where we were.
But it's difficult because Sneaky might not have. I don't think he's ever gotten MVP.
No.
Xmithie hasn't got MVP either, but I think he's been
He's
on the ballot
Finals
a couple
MVP.
times. He has. I think he was last summer for Immortals. He was up there, definitely. Him and Ole.
I think Sneaky's probably gotten more All-Pros. Yeah?
I mean, there's been splits where Xmithie has been memed, right? Like the Sejuani ults and all that stuff. I think Sneaky's been very consistent. That's like one of the things in Sneaky's favor is like Sneaky just doesn't really have bad splits. Like he's just always up there. And quite frankly, like, I meme Peter about this a lot, but like Peter wasn't in top 3 ADC last split, right? Like you could argue that Sneaky's been more consistent than Peter.
He wasn't in top 3 according to the All-Pro voting.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he wasn't a top 3 ADC last split.
Well, yeah, but if we're giving credit for MVP nominations, like that's the same system.
Yeah, Rush also won an MVP. I know what you mean, especially because I've been talking about all these MVPs and All-Pros and stuff. I'm not really working. I'm just going to shut up.
Yeah, you're invalidating the argument you just made a second ago, Calvi.
You found my weakness, which was you found the counter in saying that Peter wasn't on the,
yes, exactly. Your desire to defend Peter.
Oh, I got faded.
I would just say I'm pretty sure there's splits where Sneaky missed it as well. I'd have to double check, but like when Piglet, Turtle, Double Lift, Sneaky, and all of them were popping off, and C9 was struggling a little bit. I think Sneaky might have missed some in 2015.
What's fascinating about so much of this, by the way, is that these guys are old by player standards, right? Like it's fascinating to me that we haven't seen like Peter and who is there anyone besides Xmithie that's older than Peter?
Did you know that
Peter's 24, by the way?
Did you know that 90% of the NALCS titles are held by just 1% of the players who have played in the LCS?
Wait, sorry, one more time?
I don't know. I made that stat up, but it was probably something like that.
I wanted to double check this because I just wanted to know that I wasn't the worst friend ever.
I'm sorry, he's 25.
He's 25, Calvi.
He's 25. My bad.
I just Googled it.
Yeah, I did. As soon as I said it, I was like, God.
It's like doing math on air. Xmithie is 27. I wonder who's older than...
Xmithie's old.
Either of them. Oh, Aframu's 26. We're talking about Aframu. Like, it's fascinating to me. Like, Bjergsen's the only one that's a youngin.
Well, we're talking about greatest players of all time in our region. Of course, they're all going to be older players.
No, but I'm saying it's fascinating that these guys are all holding their thrones so late in the game.
Yeah, because they're still, like, the best for their position in the region.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that, like, in a lot of regions, you've seen a lot of these guys phase out. I don't know if that's a slam against NA and that we can't bring up talent to replace these guys.
Yeah, but that's not even necessarily true. Like, Soaz is still there. Faker is still there. Gorilla is still there. All those guys.
Faker is 22. He's not 25 or 26.
Age doesn't really matter. Lifestyle choice matters way more than age.
Yeah. I was actually about to make a good Charlotte reference, but decided not to.
That's good. I'm just saying, like,
90% of Twitch chat didn't get that.
Like, if it's not super surprising to me that like the people who we're having this conversation with are people who have stayed on top for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that might wrap it up. I don't know if we have a good answer for you, Caden. I think there's a good argument to be made for Xmithie. There's a good argument to be made for Xmithie, but there's a good argument to be made for several other people, right? That's the anscer?
Well, that's what all these are. Their opinions, and when we agreed with his opinion, we're both like, "Yep, I'd probably put Xmithie 3."
Okay, well,
I think that 4 titles though is what really seals it.
Yeah, same.
Because that's not subjective.
Yeah, the 4 titles in the MSI performance for me. That was huge for me.
Cade, thank you so much for calling in. Sorry we got off to a rough start, but I think your question was good.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
It was actually a lot rougher once you came back.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was just waiting for him to
All
get
right,
out.
here we
but
go.
When you
So
say
we
rough
got,
start, it was
hey,
rough for you.
Hey, at Tidy Cats, you seem like you're a bunch of cool cats. Have you heard about how much esports fans love their pets? We'd love to see you litter the space with some sponsorship. Do we
Dude,
like that?
This is amazing.
I'm pretty good with that, actually.
Here, okay.
Can you put it in?
So the only issue I have is cats twice, even though one's you know, in the brand tag.
Yeah, but I feel like you have to put cats somewhere in here. Okay, we could move it around.
Can you paste it so that I can?
Okay,
you know...
okay. What if we? Yeah, because right now it looks like this. I'm gonna put it into Skype. You can see it there.
Yeah.
What if we move it so it's Hey Tidy Cats? Have you heard about how much esports fans love?
Just post whatever you want. Don't send me something before because I'll.
No. But I think Kelly wants to see it so we can rearrange it.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
So what if we move the "You seem like you're a bunch of cool cats" to the second sentence? So it looks like
it definitely helps.
It looks like this. Hey Tidy Cats. Hey Tidy Cats, have you heard about how much esports fans love their pets? You seem like you're a bunch of cool cats. We'd love to see you litter the space with some sponsorship. So now it looks like this.
Yeah.
Is that the read we're going with?
Send it.
Okay. So I'm going to tweet it first.
I'll post it in Twitch chat.
Yeah.
I have a picture to go with it too.
Oh yeah. If you want to take a picture of your cat and include that in the copy, everyone's allowed to. I can't, but I think that's a good way to do this.
I don't think that people should just all take the picture of Mark's cat. I think you need to do a picture of your own cat, or do stock image search, or just like take one off of Google.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You should go copy and paste pictures that they've already replied to from their.
Okay. I don't know about this. Okay, I'm gonna spam their Twitter. You guys, I see all you spamming. Yeah, what about Pornhub? We're not doing that. I see you all spamming.
Don't post it in Twitch chat.
We all see you spamming. We all see you spamming the copy. That's great. I'm gonna spam the Twitter. Go to their Twitter. All right. Go to their Twitter and spam, and not spam it, but go to their Twitter. Use that copy. If you've got a picture of your cat, use the picture of the cat. If you don't, then that's okay. Just use the copy. We're going to see if we can start a movement here, okay? Kelby May doesn't think we can bring a brand into this space. I believe in the power of this show, all right? This is a show about the people and what their opinions are, what they can accomplish. Bigwigs like Kelby, he's been sitting on his throne of cash for years being like, I can bring this brand in, I can bring this brand in. It's not about him. This is a democratic show, okay? You the people, you the viewers, you have the ability to bring in viewers, okay? Don't let the monopoly of Kelby Mays all over the world be the tyranny of them. Don't let that lead you down the road. We're going to do this. We're going to bring a brand in. Tidy Cats, they might be the first one. Swear to God, if it's not Tidy Cats, we're figuring out another one.
I'm not laughing at you, Travis. Just want to be clear. I'm laughing at Twitch chat just substituting Pornhub for Tidy and keeping the copy the exact same.
We're not doing Pornhub.
I know. It's funny. I can't help but laugh at it.
All right, Twitch.
It'd be really great if you could get it before they switch it to Pornhub. Like clip it so you can see the chat going up.
We're putting on. How do I put on R9K mode or whatever so that they?
Wow, just let them go, dude. It's Twitch chat.
Whatever. Let's see. River, by the way, sent a Gamepedia article, which is LCS players by age. Saint Vicious and Dodo are still on the list, as well as songs. So 31, 29, 28. Or maybe it just includes coaches.
Probably just includes coaches.
Yeah. Xmithy, then Xpecial, he's out. Flame is 26. Medios is 25. So you got Xmithy is the oldest. Then right above him is Flame, and then Doublelift. Doublelift is tied for that with Aphromoo and Solo. Oh, Solo's older than I expected. Interesting.
He's been around a long time.
All right, we're gonna get the next sponsor. The next sponsor. Well, we're getting the next sponsor in right now. That's what I'm seeing on Twitter. But we're gonna get the next caller in. And I see a lot of people. Oh, we already pulled him. Noah.
Yo, what's up?
How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Let me mute your stream.
Okay, go for it.
Here we go.
That's good. I need to figure out how this Tidy Cats campaign is going. I think it's going well.
It's gonna go really well until Twitch chat gets it.
It is actually going really well. People are tweeting pictures of their cats. I'm actually in love with this. We've got so many tweets. Hang on.
Let's make sure that it's the right kind of cats.
Noah, can I show this really quickly? Can I show this really quickly? On stream.
Sure.
Yeah, be careful refreshing that feed.
Yeah, it changed pretty quick.
TOS.
Look at all these. Look at this. Oh, there's so many people. This is all from within the last minute.
I can't tell if these are real cat pictures now, though, or if people just.
I mean, some of them, like
that was
the one of the cat jumping.
that is not impromptu.
that one's not real. I don't think that's their person, their cat.
Before.
Yeah. Now, okay. Look at all this stuff. This is really impressive. Yeah, there's Mark with the picture of us doing Hotline League. Kelby's face palming in this picture, by the way, which I love, and the cat. So, this is incredible. I'm not going to scroll up because I don't know, but people are being good. Actually, there's some more pictures. These are honestly picture of people's cats. This is great. Kelby. Do you still think nothing's going to come out of this? They're going to do something.
1,000,000% nothing is going to come out of this, but it's really cool.
You're going to get a tweet back, but that's it.
Okay. Noah, sorry.
Hi.
I'm just in a really good mood right now. Remind me where you're calling from.
I'm coming from Valdosta, Georgia.
From Georgia. Okay, very good. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
I think that if Clutch Gaming makes it through the gauntlet, they're going to be they'll have the best shot of making it out of groups out of any North American team.
Clutch Gaming?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, we saved the hottest take for last.
Take.
Yeah.
He asked to be last, and everyone agreed.
This is exactly where we would use the Tidy Cats cleanup. All right.
Yeah.
You're gonna explain this. All right. We have the graphic come up, and then Mark and Travis and we clean you up. We move you into the litter box. You know, your little shit's there, but we freshen it up for you. All right. Anyways, continue with Clutch.
All right. So I think like from top to bottom, they have a roster that I could probably make a good run at a Korean or Chinese team. They have a top laner who can absorb a lot of pressure. He's proven that all split. Even when he doesn't get a lot of resources, he's not going to lose the game for his team. They have a mid laner, the only mid laner in North America who's solo killed Faker. And then a bot lane combo which single-handedly took down TSM like a favorite. I guess their weak point is their jungler Lyra, but people have been trying to build a team around him for a long time, and this might finally be the team it works out on. I just think that they're going to be able to make enough plays if they get, bar any mentality problems, which might be because they have Febivin and solo, they could make a lot of early game plays and get ahead of a Korean team if they play to their peak, like play their best game.
Okay, hang on. 1 second.
What are you doing, Travis?
Hang on.
Did we get sponsored already?
No, we did not. But we got it. This
is a sample.
Yeah, this is the sample. It's what is
Hey, Noah, thanks for calling in. That's a really poopy take, so we're gonna use the Tidy Cats litter system to help clean it up.
Oh no!
Did you just do a cat sound for the stream?
Yes. Okay, everyone, it's time for the Purina Tidy Cats cleanup. It sounds like we got a sticky one in the litter box right now. Thank God we've got Purina Tidy Cats here to clean it up. Mark, you came in with a scooper. What do you got for this? How are you going to clean this one up?
Well, the first thing is I need a little bit more context. Why, Noah, do you think if the team is Worlds ready, did they end up one of the worst teams in North America?
I don't think they're Worlds ready, but I don't think any team in North America is Worlds ready. I don't think Team Liquid plays the kind of game that's going to win against Koreans. I think that...
Much like not everyone is Worlds ready, but there's a scale of how Worlds ready. Just like there's a different scale of how much your litter can cover up your poopy take.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Ow.
Sorry, you go.
Fabivin is the only mid laner in North America to ever solo kill Faker, and like.
Yep, you said that.
Hakuho with the hooks, like he was insane against TSM, and if they can make a repeat performance, it doesn't matter. Yeah, if they could just make a repeat performance with what they did to TSM, Apollo was praised as the new Sneaky. You know, Sneaky's really good, Fabivin's really good, Solo's not gonna feed. Hakuho could make a lot of plays that's gonna win them the game, but I just think if they get their act together and actually make an effort for this instead of be down on themselves, which they probably are because they did terribly this split, they would have the best shot out of any team. If every team played to their best level, I think Clutch would be the best team on a world stage.
Wow. That's
a stinker.
I'm gonna disagree. Well, I'll grant you this one. If Clutch played every single game in series like they played versus TSM in spring, they would probably be one of the best teams in the NA. I'm not even convinced they would be the best, but they would be one of the best teams. The problem is that was like the any given Sunday moment for that team where it's like they fucking did it, and that's the peak of their year by far. And they came back to reality after that. And to be fair, we talked to Solo before, and he said they probably overperformed in spring and underperformed in summer. They're probably a little bit more better than what they showed at the very end. But this team does not do anything as a unit. They have no cohesion. I think there's a huge difference between being able to neutralize top laners in NA. And I know there are a lot of good top laners in NA, but like people don't always play around stuff as well. Like I think there's a big difference with how Griffin plays and stuff like that. I don't think they'll be able to neutralize them. And I don't even think that they have a chance of getting out of Gauntlet. I think there's 0% chance to get out of the Gauntlet.
I have a really hard time imagining their side lanes not getting crushed at Worlds.
Yeah. And part of it's not even just their fault. Like Febby doesn't really leave lane that much. And so like they're gonna have a hard time in the 1v1. They're gonna have a hard time with the fact that people move around the map better than them. They're gonna have a hard time with the fact that they don't really have a defined synergy or play style right now. They're gonna have a hard time in the Gauntlet, let alone Worlds. So
but we'll see.
I gotta disagree with you, Noah, but let me tell you, next Monday, if they're at Worlds, you got the best, hottest.
I'm on Reddit.
Yeah,
you're on Reddit. Like,
yeah.
And you know who else is on Reddit? Tidy Cats.
You see that guy who predicted TSM wouldn't make a finals, and he's been milking that. Like,
that's
milking
that too.
Yeah, but I think I don't know. Yeah, I'm definitely. There's a lot of room for me to be wrong here, but I believe that I just believe in Clutch Gaming, even if they did terrible at their peak. They were probably the best. Like, I feel like teams need to have a defined style and do something differently than a lot of other teams do to win. That's why CLG did very good. They had range supports at MSI back in the day when they made the finals, and they did something different. I feel like Clutch could play a little differently in the bot lane than a lot of other teams, and they might sleep on them. And they would be able to pull around and somehow sneak out of groups.
I disagree, but to each their own.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much to our good friend Noah for the call. That was a fun one at the end here. I really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for being a good sport too. We definitely memed pretty hard.
And
I
think
have fun in Overwatch League.
I think
No, I'm the pizza delivery Noah.
Oh.
Not the Winston Noah.
Yeah, well, okay, that makes sense. Noah, thanks so much for it. It's confusing. You do have an Overwatch icon as your Discord picture.
It was literally just a meme for this. For this.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, either way, thank you so much for the call. That was a fun one, and quite frankly, like it's a good take because if you're investing, you're buying low and hopefully selling high. So
like investing into Tidy Cat's litter.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks so much, Noah. Have a good one.
See ya.
All right. Well, that's the show. We accomplished a lot tonight, guys. We discussed who the best players are, and who's going to potentially win Gauntlet, and we brought a new sponsor into the space. So Really excited about everything we've accomplished.
And we made Reddit for like the 3rd straight week in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you just keep leaking shit. So as long
We
as
brought a new sponsor.
As long as you do that, we're gonna be.
Do you remember like 3 weeks ago? I had like basically said I was like, you know what? There's a lot of that like doesn't come out.
Yeah, you said it was. You were like, oh, this is annoying. That like these things just don't get told.
There's literally like if I sat on these things, they would never come out.
Yeah.
And like, I just think that the scene's more interesting when you have the juicy drama and the bad stories that go along with the good. You know.
And no one has told at Riot has told you, hey.
I'm probably going to talk to someone and double check this. Like, I have talked to them about things I can and can't use on specific case by case basis. I have not asked in the last 3 weeks with my increase in the amount that I am doing this if it is rubbing people the wrong way, which I should do, and I probably will do.
That can be a brand segment too. If they're fine with it, you know, every week, what is the Zimmer? The Zimmer brought to you by whoever, and we launch the show with Mark Z's latest gossip.
I think we can work the title a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just sponsor that segment with the Tidy Cat somehow.
Yeah. Maybe.
Because you know, what's great is poop is actually a term for like secret information. Like you got the poop.
Wait,
like
what?
I'm not even kidding. Look it up.
I've never heard that before in my life.
It was like 1950s, like World War II.
Okay, well, we're going back to World
I think
War
it would just be easier to say it's the scoop, you know?
Oh, the scoop! Oh my God, Kelby. This is why you could sell anything to anybody. The scoop.
Man, what if just Kelby? I know you doubt.
I really like how I worked a full day, was looking to relax and have some fun, and then came on here and was asked to use my powers to fucking pitch Tidy Cats, dude.
Well, you barely did anything. I came up with the copy. I came up with the pitch.
You and I came up with the brand we're targeting.
Yeah, I did the creative on the
You did.
on the integration. I think we know what's up.
I'm not saying that it was a lot of work. I just like how
you can't escape work.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Flush Chan says, what does Kelby do now?
I tweet and promote the Chainsmokers a lot.
That's his job.
If
apparently.
you follow me on social media.
Can we get a Chainsmokers sponsorship?
I don't think that's a thing.
That would be a really good sponsorship, though.
They literally our sales guys blocked by them on Twitter, so I don't think that we're gonna lock that one down. So that's a tough relationship to start. By the way, just really quickly, couple of things here. Boba Cola gives a sub to Damien and Audrey Kills. iFury sent 102 bits. The Pack 69 resubbed. Image 3, Count on Tilt. K-Binks Secretions. Oh, Boba Cola gives a sub to Butters. Johnny X0. Void Hunter 797. Exogen 27. T Alexa 79. And Tyson 901. By the way, if you are gifted a sub or if you've been gifted a sub in the past month, you can resub for $1. It's a special thing Twitch is running this month. Mark, you got any shout-outs, plugs, anything you want to say?
I'm so fucking hungry. I haven't eaten. I had a bagel today when I woke up, basically. Oh, and I stole a slice of pizza from the fridge from one of my roommates. I'm ready to skedaddle on out of here.
What are you gonna eat?
I don't know, probably some McDonald's. Some hot and fast and dirty food. Other than that, thanks for watching, guys. Now that the season's starting to wind down, I'll probably be doing some more interesting offline TV content, less of sitting on a couch playing games and more of what's going out in the world now that I have some time to commit to producing cool stuff. So keep an eye on offline TV as well.
Kelby?
I would like to shout out one of my best friends, Peter Pang.
Oh.
Can I go into a little bit of a preamble here, Travis?
Yeah, go for it.
So, old-time CLG fans may know, back on the CLG forums, I used to post, before we would go to, like, PAX West and stuff, about, like, the dream I would have of CLG winning an event. Because I lived with the team and I managed them for a long time, and I was a fan of the team first. And when you live with guys 12 months out of the year and you see how hard they work and you work towards this one goal, like you just become really deeply fascinated and, for me, entrenched with this idea of like, everybody getting the payoff, everybody seeing their moment to win. And I used to have moments on CLG where I would like, I don't know if other people do this. I assume other people do this, but like I just like a random point, and I would get like lost in what I was doing. Like for me, it would happen in the shower where like I would just stand in the shower for like 10 minutes, and I could like very clearly visualize and imagine like how it would go when we won an event, and the crowd and everybody on the team's reaction and how it would feel. And like it was something that I longed for a really, really long time, not for myself, but mostly for the guys, because I knew how bad they wanted it, and I never got to see it happen on CLG. And going to finals this weekend, it was really, really emotional for me. Like as Travis and Bernie can attest to, like sitting between them, watching the intro, because like it hit me really, really hard that like this was the time that I was finally going to get to see Peter play in a final. And, like I really, really obviously wanted him to win. And even though like, the series was really lopsided and like it wasn't like the crowd wasn't super hyped, like I'm just so unbelievably grateful and happy that I got to go to an event where I got to see Peter win an NALCS final. It meant a lot to me. So I want to say thank you, Peter. I love you, dude.
On that point, definitely get what you're talking about. Like, I think that's the thing I miss the most since quitting working with a team, is like the sense of camaraderie you get when you're just like in the grind 24/7 with a group of people. And it's something that you probably will never get anywhere else but like a competitive endeavor where like you are all so committed to one thing.
Yeah.
So, like, even when you like Kelby said, you leave, like I was for Steve in Miami when he finally won, like similar feeling.
Yeah. It's a super special bond that all those guys share. And like I've like every time I see it, like I saw Joey at the Golden Guardians thing, Boy at the Golden Guardians thing, and like, like we just are like instantly able to like reconnect and like, like I don't know, tap back into like we just talk about like what it's like to share that experience together, and like everybody remembers that, and like you just always have that bond. Like it's like a bond of brothers, like they talk about between these guys who are on the team together. Really cool. I'm super privileged to have been able to share that with those guys.
Well, it was fun watching this weekend, and I think it's a good shout out to Peter. It's kind of crazy. I left his hotel room last night. We were hanging out, and I just said, Peter, this is starting to become kind of old hat now. I just go to one of these events and see you win. We hang out afterwards, and then, and he's like, I know, dude. And then the door shut, and that was, I left it. It's kind of funny. The world is becoming, so many people waited so long to watch Peter win, and now they get to do that on the court, like every 3 months during the spring and summer. I guess it's kind of funny. Either way, that's been Hotline League episode 44. Thank you to Mark and Kelby. As always, this was a lot of fun. The show's consistently been a highlight of my week recently. So thank you to everyone who's been watching and supporting the show. And we will see you next week.